Okay, so this is a yellow peach tomato plant. This was a gift. I have 5 of them. They're already flowering and fruiting away, so they're ahead of the rest of my other tomatoes. After they put out the little green clusters of flowers, they began to open up. And they look like this. Now, I have to be very careful because I have a couple spiders living in this plant. But if you don't have pollinators come, you could come in and jingle the tips of the flowers once they open up all the way. Everything they need to be pollinated is inside the flower itself, and it's encased by that tongue-looking thing coming out. Once they've been pollinated, about a day or 2 days, and they start closing their flowers, you can watch them close up. Leave those flowers, because it's highly likely that they were pollinated. Watch that flower after it closes up. If the stem starts to turn yellow, it probably wasn't pollinated, but leave it there. It'll fall off on its own if it's not pollinated. And keep watching it for a bulb, like right in this one here. Bulb to start to form. And it'll start to form in this area where the green is on the back of the flower. Once it starts to form, it'll get larger and larger, like these tomatoes down here. I don't know if we could get in close enough for you to see the pollinated flowers over here. Actually, right here. There's a good one, but there's Mr. Spider's what? There's a couple spiders there. More spiders than I thought there would be. Hi, spider. Nope, I'm not going to stick my hand in there right now. Okay. So, we'll move on to another tomato without spiders for me to show you. But before we do that, your flowers are going to come out all over the place. You're going to have flowers down towards the bottom, flowers up towards the top. Just like I have multiple spiders, 3 in this area alone. You're going to have multiple areas to look for your tomato flowers. Now, if you miss a tomato flower, sometimes if the wind is strong enough, that is enough to pollinate your flowers. If you don't want to go through and pollinate your flowers as a whole, you are able to just take the leaf or the stem and jiggle. And once the flowers start jiggling, as you can see, the whole plant is jiggling. Take the cage and give it a little rock. Those actions will jostle the pollen and everything together and make your flowers pollinate. So even if you don't have the time to sit and pollinate each individual flower, which Anastasia and I like to do, just walk by and give your plant a jiggle as you go along. This will help pollinate your tomato plants. So, before we end this video, the garden here is starting to become more and more into full swing. So I'm going to take you for a quick panoramic view of the garden to show you how much things have changed in only a month's time. So next time we're out here, we're going to be talking about pollinating our pepper plants. You can open pollinate and let the pollinators do the job for you, but you run the risk of crossing your peppers in that process, especially if you're growing more than one variety. So I'm going to go through and explain next time how to pollinate our peppers. So this was a mammoth gray sunflower, and it was doing beautiful. I had a few of them. However, the woodchuck was staying out of my garden and eating the clover until the rain stopped coming and everything died off. then he came into my garden and started eating my sunflowers. He has nipped the tip off of every single one. However, the ones that he leaves leaves on, even if it's just a seed leaf like this one, will put out multiple stalks right below the break. So he ate my 2 beautiful leaves off and one of my seed leaves, but he left a seed leaf on this one. And now I have a stalk coming out this way and a stalk coming out that way. So if you're growing sunflowers, even on my little dwarf sunflowers, I have the same thing going on. You can snip the tip off if you want to have multiple heads, multiple flower heads. However, having multiple heads on your sunflower means that your sunflowers are going to be shorter in size. And you want to ensure that you leave at least 1 leaf on the plant when you do this. Otherwise, the whole thing, this was a nice woody one, the whole thing is going to die. So, other than that, all my little seedlings are starting to come up, and I have a tree that I have to transplant up against the patio here. So, this is my pollinators spot, and over here is where the magic happens. My herbs, some of them are getting large, other ones are just itty bitty seedlings coming up, and some of the basil, the Thai basil and the Greek basil, are going to seed because of the heat. I've got peppers that are about to flower, and one that already did, and I pollinated it. All along here. To my tomatoes. And my tomatoes are starting to get exponentially large, especially chocolate cherry. There's even a lot of new growth coming up from all corners. And I put in some flowers to help draw the pollinators closer. Cucumbers and peas, we're going to be putting a trellis up pretty soon. And the beans are about to flower themselves. So pretty soon we will be talking harvest time. Inside my potatoes, as I said, my lettuce is still growing, and it's nowhere near close to bolting thanks to the shade keeping it cooler in comparison to the one without the potatoes growing in it. Even the seeds we planted with Anastasia are starting to come up. I do have one tomato that is a little smaller than the rest. This is the surviving member of the aphid infestation. I've lost, like I told you, one of my peppers, or one of my tomatoes and a bunch of my peppers. So, that one just started to put out some new growth. Pretty soon, it's going to be taken off like the rest of it. So, if you like my videos, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share my videos with your gardening enthusiastic friends. Even if you don't need tips and you like, even if you don't need the tips and you like to watch how other people do it, it's a great channel, especially kid-friendly. Especially because it's kid-friendly and it helps little ones learn how to grow with their mommies by teaching their mommies how to help them slow down.